Well, this is the way, and may the Force be with us today as we dive into the Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3, and what a unique episode this one was. It opens up and it gives us this awesome star battle with Bo-Katan and Mando themselves teaming up in their two different ships. I love that. And well, right after that, we got a unique thing, and the only thing thinking inside my head was two things. One, this is a risky episode, but thank God they're doing this earlier in the season, not later in the season. And second off, who the hell is directing this episode? And the second I saw the name Lee Isaac Chung pop up, I was so excited. So if you haven't seen, this is just me going off on my movie tangent real fast. If you haven't seen Minari yet, it was an Academy-nominated film. Lee Isaac Chung did an amazing job directing that film, and what a great pick to direct this sort of episode, specifically because Minari is very much about an Asian American family pursuing making a farm and wanting to be farmers, and how the whole world kind of looked in on them. Interesting to see, because as they're trying to start that farm, again, no one really treats them the same. And being an Asian American family, how was that during that time period? What a fascinating choice to direct an episode that not just focuses, again, mostly on Bo-Katan, Mando, and tying up that storyline of Mando being redeemed, but showing two characters that we have not seen in a long time, and specifically seeing how the New Republic is handling people moving forward in their lives. What a brilliant way to segue into this episode, and a brilliant way to bring this director in and kind of establish something and maybe some more sinister stuff, because this whole plot line with the cloning was very fascinating, and it was great to see them finally segue and bring it back. And it honestly gave me vibes of what Andor was doing, that more serious tone that didn't just always focus on the action and the flair, it actually focused on the world itself and the political scale, which is one of the strongest aspects of Star Wars in general. So I was very happy with this episode overall. It's a very unique episode. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Make sure to leave those thoughts down there. If you are with This Is The Way and you have the Force with you, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well. I do have a full reaction coming up on my channel, probably by 7 a.m. PST. Look forward to that on my other channel called Zach Pope Expanded. You'll see that at the very end of this video, so definitely go click over there and subscribe. So, diving in once more, again, I really like the opening of this episode with the Star Battle. That was just great. I will never get over how awesome a lot of these battles great. And one of the things I really loved with this opening was how it's, it's a great cold opening to the entire episode. Because right after they go and ditch off into space, it cuts and it says The Mandalorian. It gives us chapter 19, and all of a sudden it pops us up, and the second I saw the landscape of the planet, I'm like, Coruscant? Mando and Bo-Katan are going to Coruscant? But they weren't. It ended up being the doctor, Dr. Pershing, which we haven't seen him forever. And that other officer that always had this very sinister demise to her. And again, we get to see the rehabilitation and how people are treating these people and treating the Empire, and just what happened to the people after the Empire. Did the New Republic just arrest them all? Did they try to rehabilitate them? And we see that that's what's happening here. And seeing this relationship pursued between the both and the general goings of the days and how this doctor is handling certain things, we see his grievances and we see how this is kind of going in. She, in a way, the second I saw her, I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag. And as we get to the end of this episode, it's very cool getting to explore Coruscant again, going to see the ins and outs of this day. But once he finds out that his, studies are just going to waste, what do you do then with that? And she twists that. The second she gets that out of him, she twists that. And she pursues and says, let's go do it. They get to the ship. And since then, she had planted this already. She wanted whatever technology was there, and she wanted to wipe this guy's mind. Because whatever she has planned is scarier than anything that we've seen yet in Mandalorian. Because now this is terrifying. Because it could affect baby Grogu. And we don't want to hurt baby Grogu. We love baby Grogu. And then seeing her turn up that mind flare, it's going to wipe his mind. So there goes him as a character. There goes his memories. There goes his scientific mind. It's going to be very interesting to see how we pursue back to that and to see when she comes in later on. And also be interesting to see how they're able to pursue the rest of this episode. And overall, that's some of the reasons that I loved Mandalorian Episode 3, Season 3 so much. It's a very different episode, and it's not one that everyone's going to love, but I'm very happy that Jon Favreau and the team and the crew decided to make this one of the longest episodes of The Mandalorian. Because it needed to be long. It needed to give that, because you needed to tie up this up with Mando and Bo-Katan. I was so happy to see that it went back to that at the very end. And again, the parallels of how two people were banished and how they were treated compared to when they finally showed that, hey, we did go to the living waters. And it was cool to see the armor prove that, and then everyone kind of accept them. But in the back of Bo-Katan's head, just as when she came out and she asked Din if he had seen anything down there, anything alive, and he says no, when we see the Mythosaur's skull on the wall, and she's staring at that, it's great to see that Katie Sackhoff is getting this development. It's great to see that she, in a way, is getting more. Because Bo-Katan, for me, has always been one of the coolest characters in Star Wars lore, and specifically her clan. And I love how the season is very much focusing in on her as well. And I'm excited to see where they take that as well. I'm excited to see how this was very much a setup episode that also just explored the rest of the world during this time period. And it was a very different one, but again, Lee Isaac Chung absolutely deserves a lot of credit for directing this episode. Not everyone's going to love this episode. A lot of people are going to be a little bit bored by it. I would completely understand, but for me, this is one of the more fascinating episodes of The Mandalorian. Not personally one of my favorites, but I do think it's a fascinating one, and it continues to show how this show itself is evolving. And I'm very curious to see if, like, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had seen what they were doing over at Andor and said, maybe we should show a little bit more details to this world in this area. Not the place that I would put it in Mandalorian, but hey, it works. And I definitely can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts down below. So make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below. Remember, this is the way. I can't wait to see what your guys' thoughts and what your favorite moments were from this episode. So again, make sure to hit that like, subscribe button. And of course, until next time, stay classy.